Well, hello. It's probably been a... Wow, that sounded weird, didn't it? I haven't done one of these in so long, I've kind of forgotten how to even go around about doing one of these videos. Doing any speaking to into a microphone. So please forgive me if I mumble and burble a bit, because it's going to take me a while to get back into the flow of doing one of these videos. But anyway, before I burble on too long about that, I kind of felt like it was time to, as I have a little bit of time on my hands at the moment, to explain why I stopped uploading videos, why I haven't been posting anything for the best part of like 2 years now. Obviously I was posting back when Battlefield 1 first came out, and I did a bit of Siege for a while, and then I just stopped. I never really gave any explanation on why I stopped, so I thought, as I've got a bit of time on my hands, I felt like I should probably do that, and why not? I've been enjoying playing Warzone at the moment, which I have been struggling to find a game I really enjoyed playing for a while, so I thought, you know what, let's get down and do one of these videos. So, before I get into the main meat of why I haven't been around, I'll give you a little explanation of what the game is behind you, because I don't think I really showed, I'm not sure my classes really pop up at any point. Now, I started out with the M4, I think I had the M4, I had a Monolith Expressor, Corvus Marksman, angled foregrip, or commando foregrip, sorry, 60 round mag, and I feel it was probably the stipple grip tape at this point. I was playing around with one of those ADS attachments, whether it's the tack laser, the stock, or the stipple grip tape. I haven't quite decided which one I like out of those three on the M4. The iron sights I think are pretty good. For secondary, I think I had a Joker on, and I died rather stupidly trying to Joker a roof when I really should have just been shooting bullets. But hindsight and all, we learn from our mistakes, or at least we try to. I'm not sure I ever really do, and I kind of make the same mistakes over and over again, a bit too much. But anyway, for the class itself, I think perks-wise, I think I had EOD, Ghost, and Ampton. That's pretty much my go-to 3 perks, and then I had C4, which is always my go-to explosive, and then I swapped between having a heartbeat and stun grenades. I think I had stun grenades on this class. I obviously died when I was pissing around with the Joker really stupidly, and then my teammate brought me back in and I picked up an MP5 class. I think on the MP5 I had the monolithic integrated suppressor, the Merc foregrip, 45 round mag, stipple grip tape, and I believe I had the CQB stock, although I did swap out for a while the CQB stock for sleight of hand. As you will notice if you watch right to the end of this video, I got into a very sticky situation and failed epically on reloading multiple times and got insanely lucky to be able to get this win. And I picked up some fellow's AX50, and I'm not entirely sure what he had on it, but normally for an AX50, it kind of felt like it aimed down sighted a bit slow. Normally for an AX50, I'll run the Monolith Expressor, the 32-inch barrel, the tack laser, the ADS stock, which I think is called the Assassin stock, not 100% on that one, and then FMJ as the last perk, because it's great fun being able to shoot people through trees and a light cover, because when people think they're safe behind a tree and you pelt them within a 50 cal round, it kind of makes them jump and jump out to one side, and then either your teammate can finish them off or you can carry on finishing them off. But anyway, and yeah, somehow managed to pull out a win. Got incredibly lucky, as I said, which you'll see as you get along. Now, it would have been a live com, and it would probably been a great live com. That sounds very stupid and very quite sort of trumpet blowing of my own. It probably wouldn't have been a great live com because I'm not wonderful at doing them, but I'm a muppet, and I managed to mute my own mic within Shadowplay, so when I recorded, and I didn't realise this for ages, so I've got like 10, 15 videos saved on my computer with no audio from my end, which is really stupid. So if I do make some more videos, which I'm going to try and intend to do, you're going to have to suffer through me doing some post commentary rather than actually getting any live gameplay out of me. I have fixed this now, so hopefully we'll get some live commentary coming up in the future, and maybe I'll get a little bit better as time goes on. But yeah, so you will be able to probably hear my 2 teammates that I'm playing with. There are 2 friends that I met back in the old PUBG days, and I still play with them today. We were playing through some trios and managed to eke out a lucky win. Anyway, moving on from there to why I kind of stopped playing games, or not playing games, uploading games to the same extent that I once was. Now, I had all the intentions when I started uploading Battlefield and Rainbow Six to upload regularly, and that went out the window quite quickly. My work ethic for doing these is not wonderful, and I really need to make sure that I force myself to be a bit better in getting the drive to do this, and at the moment I do have that, so hopefully I will continue that for a while, and as we have a lot of spare time, as all of us do, I should be able to continue to do that. But anyway, at the time I was playing Rainbow Six, which was great fun, although it gets to the point within Rainbow Six, and I think honestly it's one of the better games that I've played. I think it's highly competitive, it rewards you for skill, knowledge, everything, and it's a really good game. However, And the big however is when you get to the sort of upper levels of your abilities. So for me, that was sort of Plat 2, Plat 1. That was kind of my upper peak. I was just about able to get to Plat 2, Plat 1 area. I wasn't really able to excel much past that. But when you get to that level, every single game just seems to be, you have to try your very hardest. You can't muck around. You can't put on a silly class. You can't run around with something that isn't quite the meta, should we say. And I just, after a while of doing that, and every time you come on the game, I just don't find it that entertaining to play like that all the time. And I didn't find it very entertaining to play like that the whole time. It just got a little bit wearing on me, and that was why I kind of petered out on playing it. And I haven't played it for the last couple of months, although by the looks of listening to what other people have been saying about the game, it doesn't sound like it's in the best state at its current point. But it is still a very good game. And I'd highly recommend, if you're looking for a tactical shooter, go and play Siege if you haven't. Outside of that, I was playing Battlefield 1, which I kind of felt had quite a short shelf life for me on a Battlefield front, because it was the very arcadey Battlefield, which worked incredibly well for their sales numbers and pushed them massively into the console market. It did detract from the sort of hardcore, well, for me, the hard sort of the core of Battlefield. I don't think it was quite the sort of Battlefield 2s, Battlefield 3s, Battlefield 4 of the past. And it just didn't quite hit the nail on the head. I mean, it was still, in my opinion, I think a better game than Battlefield 5. I really dislike Battlefield 5, and I still think going back to playing Battlefield 5, I don't really enjoy it, but going back to Battlefield 1, it can be fun for a few games, because it's that sort of fun, sort of silly, arcadey version of Battlefield, and that is quite fun to play. I also missed one of the Battlefields that I really loved, which was Bad Company 2. And I think part of the thing with those games was you had to spend ages unlocking all the attachments to the weapons, and the more you played with the weapon, the better attachments you got, the more used to the recoil patterns you got. And with Battlefield 1, it just had its sort of random recoil patterns, its odd, it just didn't really reward the sort of the higher echelon of play within that game. And I didn't feel like, if you played the game and you were a really good player, you had a massive advantage over someone who didn't play that game very much and just picked it up on a more casual basis. It was still a good game and I had a lot of fun playing it, but it just didn't have that same sort of hardcore Battlefield feel. Hopefully with the new one that will be coming out in the next year or so, we'll go back to those old school days of Battlefields of old, and I'd love that. But for me at the moment, Warzone is obviously hitting the nail on the head for that one. It's got that sort of more Battlefield feel than I felt in a lot of Battlefields of recent times, and I do look quite like, I'm a little bit of a completionist, I suppose, and I like to get all the weapons unlocked, all the attachments and everything. I've only got one weapon left to go, which is the VLK shotgun. He managed to rank the crossbow all the way up, which, surprisingly, hell of a lot of fun to play in Warzone, and recommend chucking it on. For those of you who don't know, if you shoot someone with the explosive bolt and they're not wearing AOD, it will down them with the bolt, as long as you're within the right range and you hit the right areas of the body, and then the explosion will actually kill them and finish them off, so you don't actually have to waste any more bullets. It's great. And I think I've got a video coming, I've got some gameplay recorded of it, and I actually managed to get a win whilst using it. It was great fun. But anyway, moving away from games, so obviously I wasn't really finding a game that I was hugely invested in playing with, so that sort of limits your want to sit down on after you've played a game. Even if you are getting a good gameplay, it's kind of like a bit of a chore, and you don't feel like it's then something you want to sit down and make a video of, because you didn't feel it was that enjoyable to play. So it was just sort of in a sort of bad place, shall we say. Next, and probably the more pressing reason to why I stopped playing games as much and didn't really enjoy games as much, was I didn't have the time. So in January, about 2 years ago, I got a new job. Prior to that, I'd been unemployed for about a year and a half, and it was being unemployed for that long a period of time is quite soul destroying, let's be honest. But yeah, I managed to get a new job. I was up near, for a small company up near Reading. We was building drones, or large logistic UAVs for military contractors, which was basically resupply for troops. So the idea was these vehicles would take supplies from your forward operating base up to your frontline troops, and it would take a supply up, so water, food, ammunition, whatever, and then come back. Obviously, I mean, you wouldn't have to have a convoy, so you reduce the risk of troops, and etc, etc. So I got a job working for them as a test pilot and a basic engineer, and after a couple of years I got up to the point, after about 2 years working for the company, I was one of the lead engineers and the chief pilot. Which was awesome. I had great fun doing this, and going from flying the little hobby drones and the sort of filming drones that I've flown in the past, which aren't the most massive things in the world, they're about sort of meter sort of diameter things. up to some of these huge aircrafts that carry nearly half a ton and are like the size of a small Mini, is quite insane. These vehicles are nuts and also quite dangerous, but that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I was really enjoying that. However, with enjoying this, I didn't have the money to be able to move up to Reading straight away. Obviously, if you live in that area, you know it's not the cheapest place to live in the world. And being unemployed for as long as I obviously didn't have very much money. So for me, it was a lot cheaper to commute up to work and live at my parents because they weren't charging me rent, because obviously then I didn't have any money. So I was commuting up every day, which I don't think I'd ever do again. For me, it was about a 100-mile round trip, so 50 miles up in the morning, 50 miles back. And in the morning, in rush hour traffic, it would take me somewhere between 2 to 3 hours to get up there, which is soul-destroying. Sitting in traffic, not moving for that long a period of time, is quite an unpleasant experience. So doing that, then working an 8-hour day, then driving back home about an hour and a half. I'd probably usually go to the gym most evenings to try and actually do something because I'd been sat in a car for so much of a day. Get home, eat dinner, and then you just sort of crash when you got home. And on the weekends, you try and see some mates. I didn't really have the sort of time or the energy to sit down and make these videos as well. Because, I mean, although it seems relatively simple to do, it does take a bit of time to edit a video together. Not always the longest period of time, but, I mean, usually when I'm doing one of these sort of commentaries, I mean, this one's obviously going to be a bit rusty, so please excuse me. It takes me a few attempts to get them before I'm happy with it. But yeah, so I didn't have a huge amount of time to be able to do this, and didn't really have the drive to want to do it. So that was kind of the main driving force behind why I sort of stopped doing it. After about a year of working at the company, I was getting quite, let's say, fed up with the drive. I still wasn't being paid hugely well, so I didn't feel like I could really afford to live up in that area and still have any money to be able to do anything with. So I was sort of thinking, maybe it's time to look for something else or try and negotiate a bit more money. But about November, I think it was last year, I got asked to go out to events in America to support the operation of the vehicles over in the sort of trial events over in America, which I leaped at the opportunity to do. It was something new, something interesting. I love America. I travelled around there when I was 18 and had a huge amount of fun doing that. And I got to go and do that. But every time I come back from America, it would be back into the daily grind of driving up, doing work, driving home again, and I was getting more and more fed up with it. And then get to go out to America, love it, and then I was thinking, you know what, I think I've reached my time at this company. After about a year and a half there as well, I'd gone to gone up to one of the lead engineers and a chief pilot. And I kind of felt like that was as high as I was going to get within the company. So I decided that I wanted to get the one aircraft that I've been working on from its original design through to its full prototype, and it gets signed off in the event in September last year. So after that, I was like, I'm going to hand my notice in. I'm going to try and find somewhere else. So I was looking for some other jobs. I got some offers from other companies. And September came around, the event went well, aircraft got signed off, and I went through to handing my notice in to my boss, which was a little bit of a surprise to him, needless to say. And after I handed my notice in, I sort of started looking at these jobs more seriously. About a week or so after I handed my notice in, I got a call from the American clients that I've been working with, and they wanted to keep me within the realms of the project the program that had been set up for this logistic resupply for these UAVs. And they offered me a job, and to cut a long story short, the job they offered me was just, it was too good to pass up. They sort of tripled my salary, they gave me a load of other benefits, and they allowed me to work in a larger aspect away from just air vehicles. I was able to work in some other aspects as well. I've got a project I'm working on at the moment with a training program with the NFL, which for those of you who know, I'm a big fan of the NFL. I played American football all the way through university and I loved it, so the opportunity to be able to do that as well is insane, so can't really complain on that front. So as of January, I accepted a job with them. Obviously have had some issues with being able to get over to America at the moment because this bloody virus has just ruined everything. It's also now ruined my visa application because as of a few weeks ago, the president passed a bill that means that the visa applications from foreigners are being denied through to the end of the year to try and get more Americans back into work, which I completely understand. With 30 plus million people unemployed in America, obviously you need to get the employment back up in that respect. So obviously I've got to wait till the end of the year before my visa might even come through. Not that I can travel out anyway at the moment, so it's not the end of the world. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm standing. So at the moment, got masses of time, so I'm going to try and get back into the realm of doing some of these videos. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you understand, and I will hopefully see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye for now. Bye.